Trey and Brynleigh are both micro-preemies. Trey was born at 24 weeks, weighing 1 pound, 9.4 ounces, and 11 inches long. And Brynleigh was born at 27 weeks, weighing 2 pounds, 7.5 ounces, and 15.5 inches long. I guess with Trey, we didn't exactly know why. I was at work one day having some complications, went upstairs to be monitored, and quickly learned I was being transferred out here to Gundersen.
So I kind of knew something wasn't right, and then I get a call that we were going to be going to Gundersen and that I was supposed to meet at the hospital, and I was getting a ride because obviously they didn't want me driving myself. So getting here and finding out that basically we were going to go into labor, but they were going to stall it as much as possible to get the steroid shots in for lungs. And then as early as Trey was, we were also told that he had a 33% chance of survival. So that made it pretty hard the first few days. It was definitely a different experience because he was so small. I mean, even doing like the hand hugs and stuff, when your hands are so much bigger than just them themselves, it's crazy how small you can be and then grow as big as they are now.
When we had Trey, we left for the first time at 7 days old. I remember pulling into our driveway and we received the call that they were doing CPR on him.
I was like, oh great, she's never leaving this hospital again until we know that everything is completely safe, because up until then he was doing pretty well, so you didn't expect anything like that. And then I do remember I think he had a few blood transfusions, and every time he had one would be a few steps backwards, so then you kind of worry, and then he'd get better and go forward.
Brynleigh, I was monitored a lot closely. I actually had weekly appointments for her to measure my cervix length. I did have a surgery at 23 weeks to try to prevent having her as early as we did Trey, and we gained 5 weeks after my surgery, having her at 27 weeks. I guess with Trey, it was our worst fear walking in. We didn't know what to expect. Every fear went through your mind. With Brynleigh, it was definitely a lot easier. We felt at home, we were familiar with the staff, and we knew we were in the right place with her. Trey was in the NICU for 15 weeks, and Brynleigh was in the NICU for 9 weeks.
Brynleigh was definitely a different story because her survival rate was, we just were going to be there just for a good while until she was developed enough to go home. So I feel like we didn't struggle as much, and you kind of already knew some of the things that were going to happen or were potentially could happen. Her alarms didn't go off very often. She just was there to grow.
We knew what to expect. We knew we were in good hands. Trey, we had to follow for his eye development for a short term afterwards, but he quickly graduated from that follow-up care. And Brynleigh was actually born with a hole in her heart. We did have to follow cardiology and do a 3-month follow-up, but by that 3-month follow-up, that had also closed on its own. Both kids are actually very healthy and active little kids. Trey is in kindergarten, 5 years old now in kindergarten, and in wrestling and t-ball. And then Brynleigh is a 3-year-old who's active in dance and gymnastics.